All right, here inside Studio 12 with our head women's tennis coach, Howard Joffe. The Aggies opening the season this weekend with the ITA kickoff. Coach, first off, we've talked to you maybe once, I think, since the national championship finals run. Congrats on that. Have you noticed out on the recruiting trail maybe an increased exposure for Texas A&M because of what you guys did?
A little bit, Matt. A little bit nationally and internationally, more interest. And I think more than anything, I'd say less as a function of our run to the final of the NCAA, but just the momentum that Texas A&M as a name, and to steal the silly word or clever word, as a brand is having. We just had a young lady on a visit, and I asked her what got her interested in A&M, an international, and she said her and her dad saw on the web that it's one of the up-and-coming 20 schools in the whole wide world. So the combination of things, but the recruiting, definitely it's helped.
You win the SEC last year again. We talked about you making it to the national finals. Roster turns over a little bit. Do you look for maybe Christina Stanku to sort of at least early carry the team? You have a lot of people with a lot of experience, especially making that run, but is she kind of, as your lone senior, is that someone you're going to have to kind of lean on early?
Yeah, no question. You euphemistically said we had a little roster turnover.
Trying to be.
That was very kind of you. We have 4 freshmen in, 4 sophomores who, as you suggest, they do have experience because they were with us the whole of last year, and 1 senior in Stanku. And so the obvious thing is that we, are very young. And so we will have to depend on the sophomores with their experience, and Stanku, obviously, who performed very well this fall and is obviously the lone senior. So, yeah.
Now your freshman class, they have to actually go out and do it. So, in the fall they've had some successful, but mainly, the spring is where it matters. Now, with your freshman class, though, in a sport like tennis, it's really a sport that you can bring someone in brand new and they can have such a huge impact, can't they, because of the way the sport's structured and the way that how valuable each court is?
Absolutely. Tennis, when I say the term we're very young, the retort to that is, well, just look who's playing at Wimbledon. They're young kids. and so the young ladies that we have in as freshmen, I have the utmost faith in their abilities on the tennis court. Unfortunately, the youth that I speak to is a lot of times, in the case of two of them, they're internationals, and there's a language barrier. There's getting adjusted to the classes. Texas A&M is a very, very good school, and the academics are very rigorous, and so it's the settling in process more than the actual hitting backhands and forehands that is a concern to the coach. We'll look for Sashka Gavrilovska and Ratuja. She always kills me for butchering her last name, but I'm going to give it a shot here, Beaujolais, to perform very well. The fall, they did just fine, but they've both matured a lot, and they're both awful good tennis players. So Jana McCord as well from San Diego, has matured and improved and come on a lot. And so we certainly hope the freshmen can, do well here in the spring for us.
Tennis, on the international scene is such an individual sport, but I really think collegiate tennis has done a really nice job of making it such a team feel. Do you notice, since you've been coaching for a while, do you notice when the team makes the transition from fall to spring and now you're starting to play team matches versus a lot of individual stuff, you notice an extra sense of, energy, some excitement? Your season opener is this weekend. How excited is the team?
Excellent observation. One of the things, even the matches are played out individually, and yet it is in a team context. And so one of the things over the years that I've seen is definitely in the spring season, old enemies on your team, when they're playing for that final 4th point, become best friends real quick as a function of consequence. And so we have definitely had our growing pains as a group with all these young and new folk. But our girls, I'm very, very proud of them because given the vast challenges, they've done well. They seem to be getting along pretty well, and definitely excited, to get started here with the season.
Now, this weekend is the ITA kickoff. This is sort of a qualifier for the National Indoor Championships that are hosted by the ITA, which is a really cool event. Getting to play at home. Now, obviously, you guys are one of the higher seeds, having had such a great season last year, but getting to play at home, you haven't had a dual match yet this year. So how nice is that to start off here at home in front of your fans?
In terms of selfishly, any little advantage that our team could get at this moment, we'll take. And so getting to play at Texas A&M at home, and specifically Texas A&M in our case, with the good support that we enjoy, is definitely one thing that we'll absolutely take.
If you look at the schedule, there's not a whole lot of non-conference action, just specifically because you're in this tournament. You're going to play a lot of big-time teams in this tournament. But the few times you get to step out of non-conference, we know the SEC is loaded. We know that league is incredible. You got Baylor home and home. You've got a North Carolina team on the road. So once again, you're going to challenge your group to really step up early in the season, because that's got to be where it matters. That's where you build that when it matters to postseason, doesn't it?
No question. I think with any team, this team obviously being young, with any team, the object of the exercise is in May, April and May, to be playing the very best tennis, so that you can chase the titles and all of that stuff, and yet along the route you have to have enough, stealing another word, but quality wins, so that you're in the tournament and insulated against disaster and having to play the top seeds and so forth. And so our schedule, I'm very pleased that it's very challenging. I know that in North Carolina, they have 2 of the top 5 players in the country, and their team is loaded up and down and experienced. So we're going to have our work cut out for us. But this is a team this year that is extremely talented, and with the right amount of discipline and so forth, I expect us to be an awful good team when all is said and done.
All right, Coach, appreciate the time, and best of luck starting this weekend and through the season.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks.
That's Howard Joffe, our head women's tennis coach. All right, the Aggies start play at the ITA kickoff weekend. It's actually here at the Mitchell Tennis Center. Saturday, Mississippi State. Kind of interesting there. It's a non-conference match against a conference opponent. Sunday, A&M will play likely, I guess, for the championship, 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock, depending on how that match goes. And then the season kicks off. The next home match is Sam Houston State on February the 16th. Full tennis coverage all season long here on AggieAthletics.com.